Welcome to Two Beans in a Pod.
Hello there.
Today, we're going to take what I think is a really fascinating deep dive into the work of Dr. David R. Hawkins.
Specifically, his theory about a hierarchy of consciousness. It's quite something.
It really is. And the main source we're drawing from today is his book, Power versus Force.
Right. Our goal really is to try and unpack this, well, it's a pretty complex framework, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah, unpack it in a clearer way, hopefully engaging for you listening, and really highlight the key levels he talks about.
And what they mean, sort of, for understanding the human experience.
Exactly. Where we fit in, maybe.
Okay, so where do we start? How did Hawkins even come up with this scale? It wasn't just theory, right?
No, not at all. It came out of his clinical psychiatric practice and research involving kinesiology. Muscle testing.
Muscle testing.
Yeah.
How does that work in this context?
Well, it's pretty interesting. He found that the body seems to have this sort of innate response to truth or falsehood. Using standard kinesiological testing, he observed that an indicator muscle, like, say, the deltoid, would test strong or go strong when the subject was exposed to a positive stimulus. Life-affirming, truthful statements, that kind of thing.
And weak with negative stimuli.
Exactly. It would go weak in the presence of negative or false or life-draining stimuli.
And the really wild part, wasn't it, that this happened even if the person didn't consciously know if the statement was true or false?
That's the kicker. It seemed to bypass conscious belief or opinion entirely. The body just knew on some level.
Wow. So like a physical substance or even just an idea?
Both. Physical substances, pictures, symbols, concepts, statements. True statements yielded a strong response, false ones a weak response.
So this testing method became the basis for calibrating, well, everything. Human experiences, states of mind.
Pretty much. He used it to calibrate this huge range of attitudes, emotions, concepts, historical figures, you name it.
And that led to the scale, from 1 to 1,000.
Yes, this calibrated scale of consciousness emerged. It's logarithmic, which is really important.
Logarithmic, meaning the steps aren't even, like the Richter scale.
Precisely. A jump from, say, 200 to 300 represents a much bigger leap in actual energy or power than a jump from maybe 50 to 150. The energy increases exponentially as you go up.
Okay. And he defines these levels in terms of power versus force. What's the distinction there?
Right. It's crucial. Force is associated with the lower levels below 200. It's about effort, coercion, it's draining, divisive, think conflict, control.
And power.
Power, which emerges above 200, is different. It's life-affirming, integrating, effortless, associated with truth, strength that comes from within. It doesn't need to dominate.
Got it. And this level 200, that's the dividing line.
Yes, 200 is the level he calibrates as courage. It's the critical point. Below 200, the states are predominantly negative, weakening, destructive to life energy. Above 200, they become positive, empowering, constructive.
And where did humanity apparently sit on this scale when he was doing this research back in the mid-90s?
The average level of human consciousness calibrated around 204.
Wow, just barely over that line.
Just tipping into the realm of power, collectively speaking, though obviously that's an average with huge variations.
Okay, let's maybe walk through some of these levels, starting at the bottom, below 200.
All right. The very lowest level calibrated is shame at 20.
20? That sounds incredibly low.
It's described as being perilously close to death, just one step removed. It's associated with humiliation, elimination, cruelty.
And he mentions victims becoming cruel.
Yes, that's a devastating consequence. Individuals steeped in shame can, tragically, turn that feeling outward as cruelty towards others. It's a really destructive energy.
And slightly above that, guilt at 30.
Guilt is also highly destructive, characterized by a preoccupation with sin, blame, self-recrimination. It leads to low self-esteem.
And practical consequences, too.
Oh, yes. He links it to things like psychosomatic diseases, accident proneness, even suicidal behaviors. And people dominated by guilt are, unfortunately, very susceptible to manipulation, maybe by demagogues focusing on punishment and blame.
Moving up, we get apathy at 50.
Apathy is the level of hopelessness, despair, victimhood. There's just a profound lack of energy, a feeling of, I can't. People here are often dependent, needing care.
It sounds like total withdrawal.
Very much so, like the homeless or the truly destitute and resigned.
Then grief at 75. We all experience grief, but this is different.
Right. This isn't just temporary sadness. At this level, grief is a pervasive state. It's constant sadness, loss, regret. It colors your entire view of life. You see sadness everywhere.
Like depression, almost.
It can certainly manifest that way, yeah. A chronic state of mourning, maybe for past losses or just for life itself.
Okay, then fear at 100.
Fear. A lot of the world runs on fear, doesn't it? At this level, it's anxiety, seeing danger everywhere, leading to withdrawal, defensiveness, paranoia.
It limits you.
Massively. It inhibits personality growth. You're constantly preoccupied with seeking security, suspicious of others.
Next is desire, 125. Isn't desire sometimes good? Like ambition?
Well, here, desire is more about craving, addiction, wanting. It becomes an enslavement. The object of desire, money, approval, power, pleasure, can become more important than anything, even life itself.
So it's never satisfied.
Exactly. It's insatiable. And the constant frustration of unmet desires leads directly to the next level.
Which is anger at 150.
Right. Anger stems from that frustrated desire. It can be volatile, leading to resentment, hatred, aggression. It has more energy than, say, apathy or grief.
So it can sometimes motivate action.
It can, potentially. It can fuel movements or get someone out of apathy. But it's often misdirected, destructive, leading to quarrels, conflict, feuds, war.
And the last one below the threshold is pride at 175.
Yeah.
It seems odd that pride is negative.
Yeah, this isn't healthy self-esteem. This pride is arrogance, denial, defensiveness. It feels good, maybe, but it's vulnerable because it depends on external conditions.
Like nationalism or rigid belief systems.
Exactly. Religious wars, political strife often stem from this level of pride. It's divisive, creates us versus them. And crucially, Hawkins says pride blocks growth because you deny your flaws. It's a major barrier to reaching true power.
So all those levels, shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride, are all below 200, all fundamentally weakening or based on force.
That's the framework, yes. They rely on external circumstances, they're draining, they lead to conflict and suffering.
This is quite a map of the more challenging aspects of human experience. If you're finding this exploration valuable, maybe take a moment to hit that like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss future deep dives.
Yeah, it really helps us know what resonates with you.
Okay, so let's cross that critical threshold. Courage, level 200.
This is the pivot point, the first level of true power.
What defines courage?
It's the point where you start to give back energy to the world rather than just taking it. There's a sense of empowerment, determination, capability. Life is seen as exciting, challenging, not overwhelming.
So you have the energy to learn, grow.
Yes. This is where personal growth really takes off. You're willing to try new things, face challenges, deal with setbacks. Productivity starts here. What defeats those below 200 becomes a stimulant.
That's a huge shift.
It really is. Moving into courage is a major accomplishment.
All right, above courage, neutrality at 250. What's that like?
Neutrality is flexible, relaxed, non-judgmental. You're not heavily invested in outcomes. There's a sense of live and let live.
So less rigid than maybe pride.
Much less rigid. People here feel confident, capable. They aren't driven to prove anything or control others. They're easy to get along with, safe to be around. It's a comfortable state.
Sounds pleasant. Then willingness at 310, more active.
Yes, willingness is optimistic. People here are friendly, sociable, they're willing to participate, contribute. Success tends to follow because they're committed to growth and helping out.
So they volunteer, they start businesses.
Things like that, yes. There's high self-esteem, a desire to do a good job, and growth is often rapid. They're genuinely helpful people.
Next is acceptance at 350.
Acceptance is another big step. Here, you understand that you are the source and creator of your own life experience. You take responsibility.
So no more blaming others or external factors.
Largely, no. There's a transcendence of the lower-level dualities like good-bad. You engage with life on its own terms. Forgiveness becomes easier. You can handle complex problems without getting overwhelmed.
That sounds very mature.
It is. It involves seeing the bigger picture, harmony.
Moving up to reason, level 400, the intellect.
Exactly. This is the realm of abstraction, concepts, logic, science, understanding complex data, formulating theories, the level of Einstein, Freud, Newton, maybe.
Universities, Nobel Prizes.
That kind of thing. Huge capacity for knowledge and rational thought. But Hawkins adds a caution.
Oh, what's that?
Reason can become an end in itself. You can get lost in concepts and data, miss the bigger picture, the underlying essence or meaning. You might not see the forest for the trees, so to speak. Intellect isn't wisdom, necessarily.
Ah, okay. So what's beyond reason?
Love at 500.
Now, this isn't romantic love, is it?
No, not the conditional love often portrayed. This is unconditional love, unchanging, permanent, emanating from within. It's a state of being.
Characterized by what?
Forgiveness, nurturing, support, compassion. and ability to see the inherent value and lovability in all things. Intuition becomes very strong.
Does it affect others?
Profoundly, people at this level have a visible effect. They can dissolve negativity just by their presence. Hawkins mentions things like a prolonged open gaze. True happiness starts here.
Beautiful. And then joy at 540. How's that different from love?
Joy is described as an inner radiance stemming from unconditional love. It's more pervasive. Life feels effortless. Patience is immense.
Near-death experiences sometimes report this.
Yes, that kind of profound inner joy and connection. It's the level associated with saints, advanced spiritual students, healers. There's a large expansion of context, seeing the world differently.
Getting very rare now, I imagine.
Extremely rare. And the next level, peace, at 600 even more so.
Peace, 600. What's that like?
Total transcendence, beyond concepts, beyond the individual self, the ego, a state of bliss, stillness. Perception might feel like it's in slow motion.
How rare?
Hawkins estimated maybe 1 in 10 million people reach this sustained level.
Wow.
These individuals are often recognized universally as spiritual, inspirational. They radiate peace. Think of great spiritual teachers or figures associated with divinity.
And the absolute top, enlightenment, 700 to 1,000.
This is the pinnacle, the level of the great masters, the avatars, figures like Krishna, Buddha, Jesus Christ, as calibrated in the book.
Pure consciousness.
Yes, merged with divinity, with all it is. Their influence on humanity is incalculable, setting patterns that last for millennia. It's beyond ordinary human comprehension, really.
It's an incredible map from the depths of shame to the heights of enlightenment.
It really provides a framework for understanding potential human states.
So, thinking about society, how does the mix of these levels play out? You said the average was just 204.
Right. The book argues that the overall level of consciousness in a society has huge effects on everything: conflict, progress, culture.
But it's not just a simple average.
No, because it's logarithmic. The power of the higher levels is immense. So a relatively small number of people operating at levels like love, acceptance, or even courage can counterbalance the negativity and weakness of a much larger number operating below 200.
So, a few high consciousness individuals can lift the whole.
That's the idea. Their positive energy has a disproportionately large effect, counteracting the force fields of the lower levels.
Which suggests that social problems, conflict, poverty, they won't truly resolve until the underlying consciousness levels shift.
That's Hawkins' perspective. Trying to solve problems purely at the level they were created, say, fighting force with force doesn't address the root cause, which lies in the consciousness level itself. Healing needs to happen at that deeper level.
And personal growth matters then, even small shifts.
Absolutely. Because the scale is logarithmic, even a small increase in your own predominant level of consciousness contributes significantly more positive energy. Every individual effort to move up the scale towards courage, acceptance, love has a ripple effect.
It puts a different lens on personal development, doesn't it? It's not just for you, it contributes to the whole.
Exactly. It becomes a contribution to the collective field.
There's so much to think about here. A really powerful, if sometimes challenging, framework for understanding ourselves and the world.
It definitely gives you a lot to mull over.
If this deep dive has sparked your interest, again, hitting that like button really helps. And subscribing means you'll catch our next exploration.
We appreciate you tuning in and engaging with these ideas.
Thank you for listening to Two Beans in a Pod.
If you are interested in exploring this topic further and really getting into the details, please do consider ordering David R. Hawkins' Power versus Force. You can find a link below.
It's definitely worth the read.
Yeah.
Until next time.